I got this email and it really burned me up because it's not what it seems to be. It's also a great teachable moment to what we need to do as the public and how we interact with media. I am a filmmaker. I started as an actor and have been in the industry for a long time now. So I know what I'm talking about when it comes to the manipulation of media and how keywords can make a huge difference and who owns the media and why we should all be a bit cautious and maybe a little skeptical. So, Brett Ratner directed the new documentary about Melania. The documentary is about Melania, the first lady, and it's really important to keep in mind the players and how they're connected. I'm going to get into that, but let's talk about the actual title of this article and how it's kind of an editorial. And as you can see, it's by Stacy Perman, who is a staff writer for the Los Angeles Times. So this is not an editorial piece. And yet, how once exiled filmmaker Brett Ratner staged a Hollywood comeback with Melania. So it's a Hollywood comeback and the film is not a hit. But that's only part of what is at play here. Now, if you don't remember the backstory on Brett Ratner, and this headline from Forbes is not going to help you because it's downplaying that he was canceled during the Me Too movement. As a quick reminder, he was accused of rape, and he was accused by a total of 6 women. So he wasn't canceled because of political correctness. There was something to it, and you can research that on your own if you want the details. But this video is about Brett Ratner and him directing the documentary about Melania. And more specifically, this headline. This headline is doing a lot. It's insinuating that Brett has come back from something that he didn't deserve. It also insinuates that he's come back, which he has not. The Melania film is hardly a hit. Many places online, including the Daily Beast, are posting about how theaters are not sold out. Even Forbes, who had that other headline that was a little questionable, there's this kind of feedback from those who worked on the actual film. The box office has not come back yet for Melania's new documentary, but we'll have the numbers eventually. But that, again, is not the point of this video. The point for me is the manipulation of the public with these entities like the LA Times, which, by the way, has become very questionable in my mind now, and that is for a lot of important reasons. As you can probably guess, the LA Times is owned now by a billionaire. Like all of our media, it is owned by the wealthy elite, and they control a lot of these narratives very directly and sometimes indirectly. But don't believe me, just look at the company he keeps. As just one headline that perfectly encapsulates the state of the world, a billionaire who owns the LA Times had to lay off a bunch of workers, I guess, to save money, even though he's a billionaire. And you can read the article yourself, but he asked employees to buy merch. Because, the billionaire, he needs more money. So the LA Times sends me this email about Brett having a comeback for a film that is a flop about a horrible woman, a documentary film that is totally unnecessary, and about a woman who, at the very least, is completely disconnected from reality and, at worst, is complicit and a companion in all of the fuckery that this administration is doing. Also, how does she become a citizen? I think it's an important question when this administration seems to be obsessed with immigrants and people who are nationalized citizens and real Americans and all of that bullshit. Maybe we should look into how she got a special visa, which I am not the first to mention this, and I'm not quite sure what her special skills were, but I feel like there were probably other people, other Americans who could do whatever it was that she was doing to get into the country on a special visa. Oh, and I forgot to mention who's distributing his newest hit documentary. Right. Amazon. Amazon. Jeff Bezos, another billionaire. There is an insidious nature to the media and headlines like this. He illustrates that if you have the right friends and you're insulated politically, then you can have a comeback and you can overcome things that still remain true. The allegations still remain true. So why is Hollywood welcoming this comeback? And that's the other thing, is this is inclusive. I'm in Hollywood. We don't welcome him back or assholes like him. The idea that all Hollywood exists in this bubble of corruption and greed and sex scandals is not true. There's lots of people working in Hollywood who are having careers, not getting into any of this bullshit. So again, this narrative about Hollywood makes everybody look bad, but the LA Times doesn't care. We should continue to call out when billionaires are clearly manipulating the narrative, and we should become more and more savvy at understanding when we are being manipulated and be able to ask questions. Oh, and fun fact, he's also in the Epstein files. Because of course he is. Of course he is. He's a victim to the Me Too movement and these bad women who are out to get money or whatever, fame from him, accused him of these things. But oh, what a surprise. He's in the Epstein files. I'm just going to leave you with this. Brunel, pictured here with Brett. An undated photo shows the Florida native filmmaker posing with the shirtless Jean-Luc Brunel. Well, if you don't know who Brunel is, he's the late French modeling agent and longtime Epstein associate. Brunel died by suicide in 2022 in his jail cell while facing charges in France of raping a minor and supplying minors to Jeffrey Epstein. So I hope now, hearing a bit more context, you understand why this headline annoys the shit out of me and why we have to be a bit more on it as a public to not allow this kind of crap. He's not having a comeback. He is a predator and he is associated and in cahoots with other predators. And that's a problem that we all should be concerned about.